Alright, account showcase time. Let's start with the modules real quick. I've got 2 red speeds. I've got a real red speed and this garbage min roll bullcrap. I think, okay, so the speed rolls, I believe, are 2.7 and 3.0 and 3.3, right? So if you get 2 3.3 rolls, it'll be 6.6 and it rounds up to 7. And then, 2 2.7s is 5.4 and it rounds down to 5. So I think theoretically, if you get 6 minimum rolls on speed, you can get a red speed that's only plus 16, right? Because it'll be 16.4 and then round down. And then on the flip side, if you get 6 3.3 rolls, you can get 19.8 speed and it rounds up to 20. So technically this isn't a minimum roll, but like I've seen people with gold speeds that are plus 17. So this piece very disappointing. But then we got, a real red speed. And then 5 plus 3 rows plus 6. 32 gold speeds and then 19 rows of purples. So, 19 times 7, whatever that is. I'm not doing the math. I'm too lazy. So those are my modules. Onto the character builds. Oh, first things first. I'm definitely not free to play. More on the light spender side, monthly pass, battle pass, any skins I really like. I saw this Raymarry skin, I was like, I gotta have that. Like, this one is good, but I mean, that's just too good. So anyway, and then I have had to go to 80 on every LD character except for Lowan. So I have run out of pulls a few times, and I will buy like the LD lattice pack pulls to make up the difference. But other than that, I try to keep the budget. I try to stick to maximum budget of $50 a month, because any more than that, and like every time I'm at like 11,000 crystal points and I see a Massiah dupe in the shop, I'm like, I can get a dupe if I just buy this real quick, and it's definitely not worth the money. So I gotta stick to a strict budget as to not overspend on stuff that's not worth it. But anyway, so P5 Massiah. I've been saving my crystal points since day 1 for this guy. I just recently got him P5 finally. 455. Don't think this extra turn of vulnerability is worth a lattice. Got him on this shell. Managed to roll a 20 speed, which is nice. Crit rate, crit damage. So we got a 100 crit rate and we're 274 speed. Fast enough to boost with Turandot. As long as he goes 3rd, right? If he's the 3rd character on your team to go, and your 4th character is slower than him, he won't get cut by gigabytes and stuff, because gigabyte cuts between your 3rd and 4th character, and then at P5 at the very least, he's usually strong enough to just finish off the rest of their team, even with crit damage that's low. Right, and so that's why I've got my Fiamelia 1 speed slower than him, so that if I pick her early and then build the rest of my team, Massiah goes first so that he doesn't get interrupted by the gigabytes. Right, because 274 is not fast enough, even with the Turandot push to. Because I'm pretty sure with a gigabyte cut, even if you're like 260 speed, it's still fast enough to get ahead of this, because you get a 35% push instead of the 30% from Turandot. So whatever team you're drafting him in, either the enemy has to be frozen before Massiah goes, or he has to go 3rd on your team. All right, so like Turandot, Senyu, Nahor, Massiah works. And you won't get cut because Nahor goes and then freezes everybody, and then the gigabytes can't go off. But anyway, so next up, Heinrich. Got him on Revelation with decent passives. 114 P0, double crit and effect accuracy right side. He doesn't do nearly as much damage as if you had an attack percent here, but he has to land his debuffs most of the time, or he's just not a character. So I sacrifice damage for the effect accuracy, because with a max roll insight and this effect accuracy, he usually lands everything that you need him to. I've got him 274 because my crit rate pieces are not the fastest, and also his base speed is pretty trash, so it's hard to make him much faster than that. Nahor, I have him 1 speed slower than Heinrich. Codex, of course, speed, insight. Most of the time I use those shell passive boxes for insight, and they just keep rolling max rolls for me, so that's been really nice. We got him on attack percent with like Heinrich and Plume and whatnot. You kind of want HP percent here, unless it's Revelation. You kind of want HP percent here because that'll let you tank like one Tiamat Bramble, but Nahor doesn't really need it because if he hits the S3, like it's going to be frozen anyway. So, right, he ideally shouldn't get brambled. But yeah, so I had him on Strive, but it's messed up my speed tuning enough that I ended up switching him off of Strive so that I don't get got. And then if I had fast Bulwark pieces, I'd try and get him on Bulwark. I'd use an Octanode, something on that. But this is my fastest effect accuracy Swift Smite, so it's really hard to get him any faster than this anyway. P1, I don't remember, probably standard banner. I got a lot of dupes of characters on the standard banner for Wishbinder stuff. 424, I would like to get him to 444 because I have lost a few games at this point from the skill 2 only stripping 2 buffs and then missing the immunity. And then I've lost a lot of games to the freeze not landing. So having the higher base chance I feel like would be quite nice. But anyway, Tiamat. I got one Tiamat from Wishbinder and then like right after pulled a dupe from the standard banner. So she's P1. 515. A shell is probably good enough. I've got her on crit rate double HP right side with Cloth Guard, some defense. I use her mainly as anti-cleave, and I don't actually have a Bramble Smite shell spare, so she's a bit slow. This is more of a, this build is a work in progress. I'm still testing it out, seeing if I like it or if I want to do something else, but she's been performing quite well for me so far, so I think I'll leave it for the time being at least. Lily, P1, 555. My opinion, it is absolutely worth it to max this skill. Going from a 45 base chance to a 55 to increase their cooldowns makes her really quite consistent if you have one effect accuracy right side and insight on your shell. And then this skill cooldown reset is able to reset your Amber and Codex of Magic. So you can pair her up with Nahor and get 4 turns of freeze, and you can pair her up with Tiamat and just pop out of Amber and just already have the Amber back off cooldown. So very strong. I do think Lily is worth the 555. You're going to use her everywhere in PvE and PvP and whatnot. Michelle, I got HP so that she's a bit tankier because I have her on Amber. I've put probably 4,000 or 5,000 chips into trying to get this to plus 20, and I still can't, so that's unfortunate. And then Insight, because like I said, being able to hit the S3 with this effect accuracy is quite nice. Yes, the reason I put so many chips into this is because at this speed, going up by 2 is absolutely worth it, right? 354 is so much better than 352, right? And then another 2 after that, 356 is so much better than 354. Once you get into the 50s, I think it's like every 2 speed is a step change on like how many people you're going to be able to outspeed. So Lily has my other red speed. This was almost red too. This is so sad because it would have been a high roll too. I'm pretty sure this is a 19 if it hits speed one more time. But yeah, 3 gold speeds, 1 red, and then 2 purples. I still don't have a gold Swift Rush ring either. So no Swift Smite or Swift Raid gold, and no Swift Rush gold ring. So I am lacking a bit of speed. Right, like I could be an actual speed demon right now, but Beyontin, P2, just Wishbinder dupes. 141. Got this level 4 just for the 2-turn cooldown reduction. I have her on Amber. I need to reroll this to HP. Right, the defense, there's defense down, there's characters that ignore defense. There's no way to like reduce the HP for the most part. So it's a lot tankier to have higher HP and all that. And then probably Dauntless here would be good, but or maybe Insight, and then I can go the Effect Res route. Yeah, I got her Bloodbath, Strive, Swift Smite, so that she's fast, and I'm just using my fastest Strive piece here, and then flat defense. But Strive is so that after she goes into the ice state, every time they hit her, she pushes 10% and gets her turn really quick. Yeah, I mostly just use her to bring Massiah back. In any draft that it looks like that's going to be really strong, and you just pick Beyontin Massiah, and they have to deal with it somehow. Ninfoniel. P2. Once again, I got dupes. One from the, whatchamacallits, these things, these enhanced prototypes. I did a 10 pull and I got a Ninfoniel dupe from there, and then one from the standard banner going for Wishbinder. 413. She needs the speed, and then you go for the extra buff on her skill 3. I got her on a Swift Rush, Bulwark, Swift Raid, Codex, HP speed, synergy, because you can use the skill 3, skill 2, skill 3, and that's a bunch of stacks on this damage bonus, which can be quite nice sometimes. I got her at 331, right, 1 speed faster than my Rin the Unbowed, and then with Bulwark and Freya, she's also faster than my Senyu. So, I can get this, I can hit the Freya skill 2, boost everyone, hit the Ninfoniel skill 3, boost everyone again, and then have that huge buff for my Senyu. And then Bulwark, so that she's also good for anti-CC, right, 127 effect res, I got 2 effect res pieces. So that hopefully, like, enemy Senyus, for instance, aren't able to strip the Bulwark, and then you can put your skill 3 up and give your whole team immunity, which is quite nice. Liliam, P1, 555. This has happened with a lot of characters where I go to pity on their raid up banner, and then on the next Wishbinder, I pull a dupe from the standard banner. So, right, Liliam, Plume, Raymarry, and Yeli, right, all 4 of them, I got an extra dupe from Wishbinder. But for Liliam, that's a-okay, because her dupes are strong. So, attack, crit, damage bonus, I got her on double crit damage, crit rate. Speed's a little bit low. I would like her faster, like 240 I think would be really good, but kind of needs the damage. I have her on Fury and not Harvest, because if she's P5, she'll one-shot stuff even without a defense break. If you have her on Harvest, which is really strong, but at P1, P0, she doesn't quite have the damage, and so you pretty much always bring her with the defense break anyway. And with the defense down, I'm pretty sure Fury is more damage than Harvest. So that's why I've got her on this setup. And then Law of Silence, so that her low speed is not a death sentence. Right, like the opponent can still take a turn before you and not just completely destroy your Liliam because she's on Law of Silence. Hoyan, P5. I got 3 Hoyan dupes off the standard banner doing Wishbinders, and so I was like, let me go for P4 from the Union Assist, because that's where her crit rate is at. And my Hoyan build has been like chronically low on crit rate since the beginning of the game. Alright, and then once you get P4, you might as well go for P5, because it does a lot more damage. 445, if you have, even at P0, 114 is probably enough to be anti-cleave, but if you have her P5, in my opinion, it's worth going 445, and then you can use her against bruisers as well. She needs Bulwark, or she's useless in anti-cleave, because you just bring 1 CC character and she just stops working. Shell could use a little work, but it's good enough for now. If you're pairing her with Doki, I think you want this last level on her skill 2, but if you're not pairing her with Doki, I don't think it matters. Because the cooldown you want lower so that the Doki S2 can reset you. Right, but if you're pairing her with Lily, it doesn't matter because it's a 4-turn cooldown anyway. So if your Lily is maxed, it will reset regardless of whether it's 4 or 5. Then if your Lily isn't maxed, it won't reset either way. So Bulwark, because you need Bulwark. I've got her on Swift Raid because mostly Turandot. What'll happen is Turandot hits the S3, right? Senyu one-shots your Hoyan counter attacks. And then if you're running like, a 190, maybe 200 speed Hoyan, the Turandot laps all the way around before your Hoyan gets a turn, hits the skill 2, strips your Soul Ward, and then kills you. So she needs to be fast enough to hopefully not get lapped by Turandot. And then I have Harvest because I farm a lot of Doki and very little Aurora, so my Harvest pieces are significantly better than my Fury pieces, but Fury is more damage, I believe. Then crit rate 101, because 100% crit rate can be like 99.8 and then it rounds up. But you still have that 0.2% chance to miss, so 101 is better. Make sure that you never miss a crit. And then just as much attack and crit damage as I can get with the crit rate and the speed. Then Yeli, P1 455. Got her on Revelation with a pretty good shell. Swift Rush, Swift Raid, I've got the Kenai 6-piece. Pretty decent stats, 4,000 attack, 312 speed. It's decent, nothing too crazy. Tsukiyo 513. I maxed this for the, you know, that Suki tech, which does still come in handy sometimes, but I don't pick her all that often because she's too slow. 344 is kind of rough. I do have a 20 speed shell, but my fastest pieces are in use elsewhere. Right, but if you can get like a 350 Suki, I feel like she's really good. 355, she's gonna be insane. But that's, you know, that's like 5 gold speeds in a red, so I don't have the gear for it yet. You know, eventually, hopefully, down the line, I will, and then I'll use her a lot more there. But I have her 344 because at this speed, she bridges incredibly well with Freya. And I have her 1 speed faster than my Senyu, right? So I can put Freya on 3 with Senyu and Tsuki on like 2 and 4, and then outspeed everybody. And then you can bring a slow DPS with your Tsuki, and then, right, you know, if you go like Tsuki, Senyu, Massiah with your Freya, and they ban the Massiah, you still are able to skill 2 with your Freya, and then also get the attack buff for your Senyu with Tsuki's S3, which is very nice. I have her on Codex, because Codex is, in my opinion, by far her strongest shell, especially with Massiah. Because what you can do is you skill 3, bring your Massiah up, hit his skill 3, and then depending on your speed, if your Massiah is fast enough that he doesn't get lapped, which mine is, with Tsuki, you bring him up, and then you skill 2 and then skill 3 again. Right, and the skill 2 reduces his cooldown by 1 turn, and then, so the turn order is Tsuki goes first, then Massiah goes. Right, his skill is down to 2 turns. Right, then you hit Tsuki's skill 2, which reduces it down to 1 turn. Then Massiah takes his turn, right, which reduces it down to 0 turns. And then you pull him back up, and then you get to S3 again. So basically, by the time the opponent has taken 1 turn, you've already hit your Massiah S3 twice. So if they're like frozen, or if you one-shot them on that first rotation, you can hit them again in their ambers, which is really nice. But you can only do that with Codex, because you need to hit your S3 a second time. And then the other rotation is if your Massiah is slow, you skill 3, and then you skill 3 again to bring him back up, and then you skill 2, and then on his next turn, he'll hit the skill 3. Right, but that's slower, because that usually gives your opponent 2 turns. So if your Massiah is slower than their Amber units, they'll wake up from Amber before he gets his second S3 off. But it's still quite strong. But yeah, Tsuki is pretty much just as good as your speed gear is. Right? Like, the better your speed, the better she gets. Freya. I had her at 331. I had to speed her up because 331 gets outsped by pretty much every Turandot, right? It's only like 359 effective speed, right? This is like 366, so you're going to outspeed pretty much everybody. 345 on Bulwark outspeeds literally everyone, right? Nobody in the game is faster than that. Right, I think that's 378 effective speed. So yeah, 345 is the speed you want on Freya if you want to literally never get outsped by anyone. But like high 330, low 340 is usually enough. Unfortunately, I don't have any fast effect accuracy pieces left over for her, so my effect accuracy is quite low. My insight is not max roll. But if I could roll a 20 on this, that would help a lot. I could switch out one of these for something a bit slower, but effect accuracy. P1, 541. I probably am going to max this. I think this is absolutely worth getting to level 4, because the extra debuff gives you another 4% turn meter push, which is roughly 15 speed, so for 3 lattices, you basically give your entire account this plus 15 speed, as long as they're paired with Freya. So I do believe it is a much higher value skill to level than people give it credit for. And then a lot of the times when you pick Freya, the game is going to be a bit longer because she doesn't provide all that much punch, and she cycles really quickly. So having the shorter cooldown on this can definitely come in handy. Right, it'll help you tank like brambles and stuff, right? You know, when Raymarry pops out of her S3, having the defense buff and the Dreamweave to preemptively cleanse the vulnerable is a lot of survivability. So I do think this is probably worth. Nahor, I talked about him earlier, 1 speed slower than my Heinrich, which also just so happens to be just fast enough for him to boost to the front off of a leveled Freya S2. So without your Freya S2 leveled, she only boosts 8%, right? And because Bulwark on her boosts her own turn meter 8%, that means your Freya bridge needs to be the same speed that Freya is in order to boost to the front. But with your skill 3 leveled, right, you get roughly 15 speed. So your bridges can be slower. Fuqiu, I've got her on Supernova. Bloodbath Bulwark, of course. P0111. Unfortunately, I don't have the speed for her. I think you need to max her skill 1 for this 8% turn meter push, right? And the extra speed. Because if you build a Bulwark Fuqiu and you pair her with Plume and she's like 260 speed, with the skill 1 maxed, like you'll just cut Freya cleaves, right? Freya goes, and then their Senyu goes, and then your Fuqiu has already cut to the front, and you can hit the S3. So that's very strong, but yeah, 230 speed, she's a little bit too slow for that, and without the skill 1 leveled. But most of the time when I pick her, as long as she doesn't just get one shot, she pretty much just gets the job done, right? You know, triple HP, right side, of course. Mio, I have her 3 speed slower than my Nahor. I could make her a little bit faster. But I have her going after him so that if he hits the S3 and freezes everybody, I don't have to Mio S2. I can just rip the S3 instead. 433 I think is the minimum usable level for Mio. She needs the speed, and then you really need the increased freeze chance, and you really need the increased turn meter steal amount. Without this leveled, I think it's 35 and 15, and that just doesn't do anything. Mio, I believe, absolutely is worth the 555, especially if you do that weird, I think, what is it, Chinese Reaper Steps tech? I've seen this a couple times. I'm pretty sure when this ability is active, or something like that, it gives, like, your Mio, like, when you use your skill 2 or skill 3, it, like, the main target gets attacked again with her skill 1 somehow, right? And I've gotten, I don't know if that's a bug or like what they're doing with that, but if you max your skill 1 and it's a 50% to freeze, right? You know, 25% plus your effect accuracy, that can be quite strong. So I have her on Dark Moon because it's my only spare double swift bulwark shell. My other 2 are unfortunately in use. I've got this one on Turandot because it's my only available plus 20 speed Jackal Guard, and I think Jackal Guard is by far her best in slot shell for the most part. So I've just got this on my Mio. It is nice to have all this effect accuracy though. 365 effect ac on the first turn is pretty nice. Like, you're never going to miss your debuffs because they're effect res units. You're going to miss because it's a one-hit skill. So it's pretty much all I have to say about her. Plume, right, attack for a bit of extra damage, speed, insight. 555, P1, Wishbinder. I've got 346, right? Because I've got these yellow speeds on these 2-piece, and Plume can get away with using 2-piece because she's so fast. Right, she doesn't need Bulwark, she doesn't need Strive, she doesn't need any really 8-piece set. You just need her fast. So I can run her on these like off pieces, basically. 170 effect accuracy, because I do not have any more fast effect accuracy Swift Smite pieces, because my fastest is +9. And I need her faster than my Senyu. And then, you know, Jackal Guard for the damage in CC teams. Right, so speaking of Senyu, 343, P4, 555. I got really lucky on her banner. I got the first 3 copies in like 110 pulls or something. And so I figured, you know, let me just go all in, right? Spend all of my standard pulls until the end of her banner to try and get P5, and I ended up getting P4. So, almost. I've got her on a pretty good revelation, you know, 20 speed, 12 reason. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure insight is better than reason damage bonus because a lot of your damage is coming from the revelation proc anyway. This is not a 12% damage increase. This is like a 6% damage increase, probably. Around there. Actually, maybe less. Hold on. What is the 4 hits of 90 and then it's 2 point? Yeah. So I think this is like a 7% damage increase, right? Because a little under half of your damage is coming from Revelation, I think. But anyway, so you know, Swift Rush, Swift Raid, and then just an off piece that's crit damage with high speed. I think if you're pairing her with Santic a lot, an attack percent piece here would definitely be better, right? Just maximize your Revelation damage, and then you get the crit damage from Santic, but I don't have my Santic built yet. Anyway, Nevette, P0515, shell is doo-doo. I have not really re-rolled it all that much. I believe she does need to be on Codex, because only having 1 skill 3 is kind of trash, and she does need momentum, otherwise her damage is also kind of trash. My pieces are kind of really bad, right? You know, 5 blue speeds. If I had... It's not that my pieces are bad. I actually do have much faster pieces than this, but I need them for other characters, right? So like if I had the spare gear to get her to like 320 speed, I'd probably use her a lot, but at 296, she kind of, like, she's just not fast enough, right? Because like 296 is plenty fast enough if you have an opener, if you have a Freya or Turandot or whatever, this is plenty fine. But in the kind of CC teams that you would pick Nevette in, don't really have a free slot to put an opener on, and so she's just going to be way too slow, right? Like if you bring Nevette and Nahor and they ban your Nahor, like she's just going to go like after their faster units, and you know, you're gonna lose because they're not CC'd. So I would use her more if I could get her faster, but for the time being, she's pretty much benched. Raymarry P1 once again. Standard banner on Wishbinder. Very happy about this one though, because I want to get Raymarry P5 next. So having one dupe off the standard banner helps a lot with that. I only need to save up 60,000 crystal points instead of 85,000. Hooray! But anyway, 555. She is, I think, you know, it might be arguable, but I'm pretty sure she is just the strongest character in the game. So definitely make sure you 555 her. I've just got a standard Bloodbath and Bramble build. However, I saw the account review Artier did with UA, and he has a Bloodbath, Swift Smite, Swift Rush Raymarry at like 270, and I'm thinking I probably want to do that for next season. I feel like that would make her a lot stronger in the turn 1 draft. It will probably make her a little bit weaker in the turn 2, but like my Raymarry's damage is too low for the Brambles to really do anything anyway, most of the time, so it might not be that big of a deal. We'll see though. Right, 'cause she'll be so much better in the Turandot draft at 270 speed, so it might be worth it. But for now, that's the stats I got her on. My pieces are not great. I've got a lot of wasted stats on a few of them. I mean, this piece is really good. This piece is fantastic, but this piece is trash. Anyway, so Lowan. I need to re-roll these passives. I want a defense percent and then red speed, but this is really good. 545, this is bait, right? Don't level this, right? You want to spam your skill 1 most of the time anyway, and you'll cycle fast enough that the 2-turn duration on this, on the enemies, usually gives her 4 turns to get the skill cooldown back up. So, right, like most of the time you don't want to press this anyway, and then even when you do, like you're not worried about the cooldown. So just save yourself 1 lattice. You definitely want this defense though. As for modules, I got her 8 Swift Rush, Bloodbath, Swift Smite. Crit rate is a little bit low. I think it's not really worth it at this speed. I keep taking her fast pieces to like speed up other characters. Yeah, I think crit rate this low with speed also this low is probably not worth it. You probably, without Turandot. With Turandot, it's fine. Without Turandot though, you probably just want to make her slower with higher crit rate. But if you can get her like 310-ish, maybe 320 crit rate like this, I think that's fine. Fiamelia. So with the whole gigabyte issue in mind, I have her 1 speed slower than my Massiah, so that if I pick her with Massiah, Turandot, and then, you know, somebody else, or like maybe Plume Senyu, and they ban the Plume, Turandot goes, Senyu goes, and then Massiah goes. So Massiah will not get cut by gigabytes in that team, and then he'll one-shot everybody, and then Fia can come in after and hit their ambers for, you know, like 8,300 true damage or whatever. I've got some effect accuracy from substats because her skill 3 does pushback. I want that to land. 155. The shell is work in progress. I need to re-roll this to something more useful. Probably insight, I feel like. Right, either insight or synergy, I feel like is quite good. Dauntless is also solid. Right, because I'm running her on Swift Rush, Time Weave. Right, 8 Swift Rush, 12 Time Weave, and then Ether Plague for the HP and effect accuracy. Right, because I don't need 12 Swift Rush because I don't need the extra speed. I want her specifically this exact speed, so not much more to say about that. Red Diting, P3, 515. I would like to max his skill 2 eventually, but I don't have the lattices for it at the moment. I got lucky. I got 3 copies of Diting and like 100 pulls, and so I went for the P3 as well. I've got him on a turn 2 build now. You know, defense, speed, final damage. This could be whatever. I don't know. I could put Dauntless, you could put Insight, you could put Gaze, put whatever. Jackal Guard, because you want him to cycle. He's a bit slow. I think you want like 280 speed, but you know, 266. Take it or leave it. Right, I got fact accuracy, defense, a good amount of defense. Well, good enough. and some speed. All right, so he's just there to make me like super tanky. If I pick him with Fuqiu in the turn 2 matchup, you don't really have to be scared of Raymarry at all for the most part, because like you're just unkillable. I don't really use her anymore. Back in the day, I was like the latter half of season 1, right? So before season SS1, I wanted to start like building towards the standard draft, and then I realized, you know, I don't have Doki, and this is before Sylph was out, so Aya would be like my only good anti-CC. And CC was so strong at the time, right? You know, Kazuo was still a terrorist. And so I figured, you know what, if Aya is my only anti-CC, I should probably just not even bother with turn 2. I'm just going to lose every game to CC. Let me just stick with turn 1. I stopped leveling the skill 2 after just 1 lattice. Then I leveled the skill 4 because I needed this 40% turn meter push to farm Turandot Inferno when that first came out. So, and then we got the double swift strive with the speed and the effect res and triple effect res right side. It's probably not necessary. You could probably go 1 effect res and then 2 HP, and then she would actually be decent against like Senyu cleave as well, because she would be pretty tanky. But I use her mostly just to like try and counter like Plume and stuff. And if they bring Plume and your Aya resists and pushes 30%, you can hopefully steal back turn 1, but she's kind of too slow for that. I think you need like 330 speed ideally, so you'd have to level the skill 1 and then get slightly better gear than purples and blues. But you know, that's the idea behind it. Senyu, I think we already went over. Rin the Unbowed. She is a lot better now with Senyu if you can get them both on the same team, but usually people will just ban your Senyu. So I still find it kind of hard to use her in general. But if you're doing Freya cleave against another turn 1 player, and you go Senyu, Freya on 3, Rin the Unbowed, and then Ninfoniel. Rin with a Ninfoniel buff, especially if you have Raymarry on 1, kind of just one-shots turn 1 players. 330 speed, 81 crit rate, as much crit damage and attack as I can get. All of my SRs for the most part are P5, 555, because it's SRs. And this was my original White Fang. This is the first double swift White Fang I got. I used this on Lily for a long time because it rolled 18 speed. So, you know, back in the good old days when like 330 was blisteringly fast, this is the shell I ran on my Lily. I just re-rolled this to odd and slapped it on here. Turandot, Speak of the Devil. 362, she's a bit slow because, once again, I don't have any gold Swift Smite or Swift Raid pieces, but I do have 3 high roll gold left side, plus 15 effect accuracy, and a red speed. So, you know, she's not exactly a speed demon Turandot, not one of those, you know, outspeed enemy Freya Turandots, but she is more than fast enough to outspeed pretty much everybody else, right? You know, if you have Turandot on 3, they're just not going to have turn 1 unless they put Freya. Right, 20 speed, right? Because, you know, if I put an 18 speed on her, she's only 360, and that's way worse. Like, so once you get above 350, like, every 2 speed is huge, right? Absolutely massive. I think above 360, it probably goes to 1, right? Like, every 1 speed you go up is huge. So you really need the plus 20s on these really fast characters, right? Because 363 is significantly harder to get than 362, right? And then 364 is even harder than that, right? And then 365 is kind of like that's the point where you start to need like 2 speeds, 2 red speeds, right? Because I have 3 high roll golds with another gold. I only get 2 more speed from this if this is gold and it's not high roll. So, right, that gets me to 364 or maybe 65, and then anything above that you start needing a 2nd or 3rd red speed. So you need to make sure that this is maxed, because that speed is very important in the turn 1 mirror, right? Like when I had this at I had a different Jackal Guard on her that was only 18 speed. Maybe it was this one. It might have been this one. 19 speed, and this is back when I had when this was my only red, right? So I was 2 speed slower. And I got outsped by ANPX. His Lily was faster, right? So, right, but now I'm 2 speed faster and I outspeed his Lily. So it's very important once you get up here. Like every 1 or every 2 speed is pretty huge. Anyway, so effect accuracy, I got 1 effect accuracy piece because her skill 2 has the strip and the pushback. You definitely want to land these. And then insight, of course. Yeah, I think Turandot is quite possibly the 2nd strongest character in the game after Raymarry. At least if you're a turn 1 player. Alright, for turn 2, it's definitely going to be somebody else. Probably Fuqiu or Awakened Sania or something, I don't know. Sylph. You know, P5, 555. I need to re-roll this shell. It's really tragic. I have her on triple effect res with Bloodbath and then 2 Swift Rush. I go Swift Rush instead of Strive because effect res is fraudulent in this game. You're always going to be frozen anyway, so Strive isn't going to help you. So I just like the higher speed so that I can like actually cycle and get my Alicorn off, you know, get another turn on the second turn that she's frozen and then unfreeze and then get a third turn and actually do stuff. But yeah, if I could have her like the same speed with Strive, I would do that, but I don't have the modules for it right now. RC77, this guy is super easy to build, right? You can put a bunch of blue speeds on, bunch of blue and green speeds on him because he's 131 base speed. Triple effect accuracy right side. I have him slower than my Mio so that I can hit the Mio S2. And then one thing that's really nice is with the Dark Moon, she puts a 3-turn wound on one character, and then you can extend it and then spread the 3-turn wound to everybody with RC's skill 2, and then push the character back, and then on the next turn you extend it again, and now everyone has a 4-turn wound and the main target has a 5-turn wound, and it's like they're never healing. Yeah, RC is a beast. I have him on HP so that he can tank a Bramble if he needs to. You know, insight, speed. Once again, you don't need a red speed on him because he's just that fast, and you want him to be slower than your other CC units anyway. So I had him on Strive, but that messed up my speed tuning on multiple occasions, so I switched him off Strive, and I just put this random off piece with some crit so that he can maybe do some damage. I don't know. Hizukimari, she has the same problem as my Aya, where she's just too slow. Like, the shell is really good. Her kit is not bad. It's just, I don't have the speed for her. If I had actual speed gear, if I could get her like 320, I'd probably use her a lot more, but also, this passive giving you the inability to gain attack buffs makes your Freya a lot worse because her skill 3 doesn't push you anymore, and it makes your Turandot a lot worse because you're not getting that 52% attack buff. So, right, because your buffs are increased by 30%, and 30% of 40% is 12. So you get a 52% instead of a 40%, which is quite nice. Right, and then the defense buff is 78%. It's huge. Like, it makes you so much tankier. But anyway, so Mari, mine is too slow to be useful. Same problem with Mia, right? This base speed is abysmal. If you can get her to like 345, she's really good, but if she's slower, like even 330, I feel like is kind of unusable. Dorothy the Wisher, she's kind of just a backup turn meter push if I need it. You know, some drafts you're going to be able to bridge with her, so I just have her on a build that, you know, if need be. Kind of same thing with Lilith. I just have a build. She's 111. If I ever need another HP scaling bruiser, I can pick her. Lingluo, the shell needs a lot of work, but you know, 511 P2. P2 is really nice because you get the extra healing. I've got her leveled from the early Aurora days. I think I still actually use her on my Aurora team. But anyway, Bloodbath Bulwark, she's really slow. I think on this build you want her like 265 speed, or at least like in the 260 range, so I'm missing a little bit of speed. But triple effect res, I use her mostly for anti-CC, and you know, she still gets stripped and then CC'd every game anyway. So Holden, got him on a really good artisan, 551 P1. He's a little bit slow. I think once again you want him like 250-ish, but I do not have the speed and the defense, so I just have him a bit slower with 3,500 defense. Get that, what is it, 84% follow-up rate? Yeah, I don't ever use him, right? Because I only play turn 2 into turn 1, and he needs to be on Amber, right? Like, you can't, if he's on Artisan against turn 1, he just dies. So I don't use him right now, but if or when I get him on Amber, I might start using him some more. Veronica, P0, 111. I've got her on Lighthouse with the 25% push from Lighthouse and the 25% push from her own skill 1 and Bulwark. 231 speed is usually fast enough to cut pretty much anything. You get a 50% push with 231, that's a lot. And I use her like pretty much exclusively to try and counter Massiah cleave, right? I have insight on the shell because I have no effect accuracy and my skill 3 is not leveled. It's only a 60% chance. Right, so her only job is tank the Massiah S3 and then steal his invincibility. That's what I pick her for. Rilmocha, I don't use in PvP. I have used her before. You can go with a Tiger Yin build and then pull her up with Tsuki specifically to one-shot other turn 1 players, but if they bring a single Amber, you're kind of screwed. So I hope she gets buffed in the balance patch. A Rilmocha buff would be awesome. I don't know how they would buff her. Maybe ignore death prevention effects and then buff this to like, I don't know, 250 or 260 or something. That could do it. Alright, make this little chinchilla PvP viable. Rosa, don't use. Santic, I don't have him built yet. Soon. Chloros does not get used. Red Chiaki, I've got her on just a standard, you know, Strive, Lighthouse, Bloodbath to cut the Senyu cleaves, right? With, you know, Freya, Senyu. This should be fast enough to get ahead of any of their other damage dealers. And, you know, 280 would be better, but 260 is, like, good enough, I think. And Sania, 272. I need to reroll this to HP. Alright, defense is no good, and then I need to reroll this probably to defensive stance or insight or something useful. Yeah, she's not awakened. I only pick her if I need a revive for somebody. Right, so like if I'm going with Hoyan, Massiah, Amber, Beyontin, Sania is a really nice 5th pick because that's another revive and can, like, your team can get pretty toxic to deal with. And then last but certainly not least, we've got Valerian. I've got her fast with some effect accuracy because her skill 1 has a slumber that is very nice to hit if you ever hit it. And the idea behind Valerian is she counters single target. So if they ever bring a Hoyan to try and stop your Senyu cleave, or they bring a Liliam, right? If you're like trying to CC them and they bring Liliam, you can just pick Valerian and she counters. Because none of your guys can get one shot by single target damage. With Valerian on the field, and then she's fast so that she actually takes her turn and is able to put this back up and you know, protect you one more time, right? So like a lot of times what happens is you CC everybody and then the Lilium goes and then she hits the S2 on your Mio and like stuns your whole team. And you know, that's no fun. Well, with Valerian on the team, Lilium can't kill anything. So no AoE stuns. You know, the Hoyan can't kill anything, so no revives. And that's why you build your Valerian fast, so that you can put the S3 back up before Hoyan gets her turn, and then she S3s again and still gets no kills. And once Awakened Valerian comes out, like, she's going to be an absolute monster. But yeah, so anyway, I just got her on HP effect accuracy for the bigger shields and stuff. So that's all of my characters, and I have them speed tuned. I think I'll show off some sample games here. Right, so I think this is a pretty good one that shows off, you know, some of the strengths of the fast Massiah and the effect accuracy Lily and everything. So if you're cleaving or CCing, it's really hard to deal with Fia. And so if she ever makes it to lock, there's almost no way to actually stop her. Right, it's basically just Silence and, so yeah, Silence to turn off the passive and then Massiah to ignore it. So what you can do is with a Massiah cleave, you can counter the Fia pretty well. Alright, so this is why we run effect accuracy on our Lily. And she's kind of like a bootleg Santic. And Massiah comes in, just barely doesn't kill Lowan, unfortunately. And so there we got kind of lucky and unlucky. Because we didn't get 2 Dream Leaves from Freya, so the taunt that Lowan put on cleansed off the one, and then Lilith landed the bomb, but fortunately it didn't actually stun. But anyway, so she still had 0 stacks because Massiah ignores passives. And then his skill 2 comes in and kills, and we're chilling. And you pair him up with Lily, and he just chops and chops and chops. At 270 speed, with the 30% push from Lily every turn, he's basically the same speed as your Lily, right? So it's like a 350 speed Massiah here, which is pretty scary. Right, so you see here, we put up more Dreamweaves. And so when this Lowan takes her turn, right, she's not able to dispel all of it. And so she doesn't land the taunt, and I'm able to hit the skill 3 and put up invincibility again. And then with Lily, once again, you just chop. You cycle so fast. So yeah, P5 Massiah is a beast. Right, the fact that you can run him with 3 openers and still cleave an Amber with 2 healers. You know, he's something else. In the turn 1 mirror, right, this fight against Sean B. Basically, it's just Freya plus your Freya stuff. So in this game, I am second pick, and so I always ban Raymarry if I'm second pick because she's just too hard to deal with. Specifically when it's a cleave player or a CC player and they first pick Raymarry, because none of your anti-cleave CC stuff is good against Raymarry, and none of your anti-Raymarry stuff is good against cleave CC. So you don't want them to have both, because then you have to ban the Raymarry and just hope that you're... Right, if it's a known turn 1 player, if you know that they're turn 1, you can just draft with that in mind, knowing that you're going to ban the Raymarry in post-ban. But if you don't know who it is beforehand, and you start drafting anti-Raymarry stuff, and then they go full speed, you just lose. So that's why I always pre-ban her if I'm going second, because you can't really deal with it for the most part. But anyway, so he pre-banned Senyu, so I thought he was turn 2. So I was going with my Freya cleave, or my Turandot cleave setup, and then he Freya, and I was like, oh shoot. But anyway, so on the next go around, right, I get the Raymarry. Right? These two are strong against Raymarry, and then I speed up, right, and then he tries to do something, and then he loses, because once again, if the cleave player takes the Raymarry, it's really hard to deal with, right? Because I can take 2 force bans, right? You have to ban the Raymarry or you lose, but then you also have to ban the Nahor or you lose. So, because I have 2 buff strips with the CC and the Raymarry, right? If you get rid of the Raymarry, you're CC'd and you lose. If you get rid of the Nahor, Raymarry just kills you. So it's pretty lose-lose. So he pre-banned the Raymarry this time, and then I just did my other Freya setup with... he's got 2 really strong debuffers here, and then only 1 real buff strip, so I went with the Ninfoniel last pick to give my whole team immunity, even if the Senyu gets banned, and it goes pretty well. So that's mostly how I deal with other turn 1, ideally. Right, so here it's just Turandot plus your fast bridge units, and then you win, ideally. Let me see if I can find a game where things did not go so well. Oh yeah, but so here's another example, right? Is he's got the Turandot and the Lily, and this team is all 324 speed and slower. If my Freya skill 2 was not leveled, I would not have been able to cut here, right? But because it was leveled, I'm just fast enough, right, that I'm able to get past his Lily, and then push her back with the debuffs. Right, so that's why I think it's absolutely worth leveling for Freya skill 2, because like the rest of your account can be so much slower and still be able to bridge off of the Freya, right? For just 3 lattices, I think it's definitely worth it. Right, and then the other way I deal with turn 2 is just to tank up, right? Because the Freya here is pre-banned and he takes the Turandot on 3, so I have no way to speed contest this, so I just tank up and hope for the best. Yes, I took the Plume because the plan was to go Turandot on 3, but he took the Turandot. And so it's also nice to have Plume just so that you don't get defense broken, because it makes it a lot harder for them to cleave you. Now, usually I like to take the Mio instead so that your Ambers don't just get instantly turned off. Even though my Mio is on a turn 1 build, just having her so that they don't have her is pretty strong. Right, and then this is just a super strong draft, especially if the Fia is pre-banned. You take the Lowan, you see what they're going to pick. If they pick 2 healers, it's usually not going to be speed contest on 3, so you're usually safe to just go fast. And with the Plume and the Nahor, you have 2 defense breaks for your Liliam, so it doesn't matter which one they ban, you're always going to have a defense break on the Tiamat, and then your Liliam can just one-shot the Tiamat. And then, the Amber is no good because the HP is locked, and the free win pretty much at that point. And then... Right, so they pretty much have to ban the Lilium, but then you have a buff strip with Nahor and Lowan. So you've got the Lowan CC team, which is very strong also. Right, so once again, I just take the Mio and then tank up. I think he was expecting that I had my Mio on Bloodbath because she's on Dark Moon, and Dark Moon has Bloodbath. So that's why I picked Hellkid. If he knew that my Mio is fast, I think Hellkid is definitely not the pick here. You just take more damage. Right, and you just try and one-shot Mio and then win from there. But yeah, Hellkid was not a good pick in this draft because my Mio is so squishy. Right, but this is only the second time we've ever fought, so I doubt he knew that at the time. Let me find some regular old cleave games. So when you have the Raymarry first pick, cleaving becomes pretty darn easy. So on this team, the speed tuning goes Turandot, Senyu, and then Nahor. So if they ban the Nahor, Massiah goes next. If they ban the Senyu, Massiah's third. So I don't need to worry about gigabytes cutting, and I don't really have to worry about Plume either, because this pushes so much. And so, I'm able to just send it. That does decent damage, nothing to write home about. Then Nahor does Nahor things. And when you have Massiah and Nahor on the same team, you always open with the S2 on Massiah. Right? You kill one of their amber units so that you can use the S3 while they're iced. Because Nahor keeps the rest of the team frozen on that second turn as well. It's not interactive at all, right? Like, they just die. Right? And then Massiah chops while they're iced, and then your Senyu can finish people off, hopefully. Now in this game, he was just a little too tanky, and I wasn't actually able to kill anything because of the Viper passive. But Senyu cycles so fast, especially with Turandot, and then you just rip the S3 again, and Massiah gets his invincibility. This one was actually really close. I used the S2 to strip off the heals. Tiamat is buff blocked from Nahor, and then it's, that's all she wrote. I think there was another game in here with a Massiah Nahor cleave. Yeah, I think it was this one. Right, so you open with the Turandot and everything. Right, you strip the buffs with your Senyu, ideally. And then you freeze with Nahor. And because their team is going to be frozen on the next rotation, because your Nahor is faster than their team, he's going to lap them, you open with the S2. Alright, the S2 puts them into the ice state. And then ideally you kill the other amber before your Massiah goes again. Right, and now they're both iced, and then Massiah comes in and just bop. Right, this is my guilty minty fresh. Right, and then they're low enough HP that your Senyu can usually finish it off. Yeah, so just a little Massiah tech to be aware of. If you have him and Nahor against ambers, always open with the skill 2. Don't use your skill 3 right off the bat. Unless they have Aya. Right? If they have Aya, and you open with the skill 2 and you're greedy like that, it is guaranteed that the Aya cleanses the freeze, and then their team gets to go and just ruin your game. So, I think I have some games in here. This is where I had some games from when I was testing the full damage Massiah with top speed Tsukiyo. But yeah, so I was having a rough time a couple days before season was over. I was trying stuff. Right, trying the turbo fast Tsukiyo Massiah. And yeah, P5 Massiah kinda slaps. Like that's kind of a little bit of damage right there. That's you know. Right, but once again, so when my opponent tries to go greedy, greedy turn 1 with the Freya and the Turandot, I just tank up, right? It's just Tiamat on 3. I try and steal the Mio because Mio turns off your ambers and it's no fun to deal with. And if they go CC, you go double cleanser. If they go cleave, you go double anti-cleave. And it's basically just your amber on 1, whether that's Lowan or Raymarry, and then you steal the Mio and then Tiamat on 3 with your 2 supports for the most part. Alright, you know, and Senyu cleave. This is why you have your Plume speed tuned ahead of your Senyu. Alright, we get the attack buff, we put the debuffs on. We hit the defense break and watch their HP just melt. Alright, not even P5 yet. Now we hit the Nahor S3 and that's all she wrote. Because we have a trillion debuffs here. Watch it get cleansed anyway. Yep, freeze always cleansed. And then we just avoid hitting the Tiamat so that we don't get brambled until Nahor gets the freeze again. But he missed the freeze, so it's a bit spooky. So we continue avoiding hitting Tiamat until, ideally, we can hit the Nahor S2 and actually land the freeze. Thankfully no brambles though, so we're chilling. Maybe let's get a turn 2 game in here. Yeah, so I try and avoid drafting turn 2 whenever possible, because my turn 1 is a lot stronger. So, alright, but here's a great example. He goes with the Senyu and the Turandot, so we go with our anti-cleave, and then we went Heinrich Yeli on 4-5. I just went Hoyan on 5 because she's strong against Yeli and Senyu, and then I banned the Heinrich because I have no cleanse. So, right, and then you just tank. I think actually my Fuqiu died in this one because she's not strong enough. Right, but I have Plume here just to help my Fuqiu cut and actually get a turn. Yeah, so basically, you know, I've been this guy in the turn 1 situation here many times, and it's basically just if Tiamat brambles your Senyu, most of the time you're just going to lose. Right, because Tiamat always goes dragon form, hits once. You can tank one hit with the defense buff from Turandot, but as soon as you tank that one hit, like that's all you got, right? So Tiamat always goes dragon mode on a team like this because you have no way to stop her stacks. So if you get brambled and your Senyu goes down once she goes dragon, like, you just lose. But I focus down the Turandot as fast as possible because she cycles like crazy. And if your Tiamat just misses the brambles, Turandot will solo your Tiamat. It's actually crazy. I hit the Turandot one more time. What I should have done was I should have hit the Fiamelia with this, but I thought if I didn't hit Turandot, she would be able to out heal and then kill my Tiamat. But having 60% healing reduction on this Fia right now would be really good. Alright, because this game was sketchy. Did get the skill 2 off again, so we got a little bit of healing. Or well, we would have, but our Ambro is ready to go. And this is why the 50,000 health build with like low crit damage is so nice, because you just tank hits. Alright, like if I was on like a double crit damage build, I would have been dead already. And I hit the S3 to get the taunt before she gets the skill 1, and it gave me just enough time to clutch up. Now let's look for one more turn 2 game and then call it there. This is turn 2 enough. Alright, so here we got Freya on. Right, so I just brought my Amber, Beyontin, and my Massiah. Alright, I figured if he's not speed tuned properly, my Turandot will be able to go, but he was sufficiently speedy, so Turandot did not get a turn. Alright, and then here comes the value of the Amber Bayo. Right, because they just never banned Massiah for some reason. Right, which with a team like this, you have to ban Massiah, because like as soon as he comes back, you're just dead. Right, you see the strive, it lets me get up, and then Massiah goes, and it's lights out. Right, his Plume was on Bloodbath, so she actually tanked it, but now I have a full health Tiamat with heals, so I maybe should have looked at this and seen that my buffs were about to get stripped, but whatever. This is what I was talking about earlier with the Raymarry first pick into cleave. Because if you're picking stuff that's strong against, or if you're picking stuff that like gets you the turn 1, you don't have any way to deal with Raymarry. And then if you're picking stuff that's good against Raymarry, you don't have turn 1. So that's why she's such a strong first pick, because you know then you can draft like this, and then they try and take turn 1, and then you just tank down, and it's pretty much impossible to win from here. Especially if you pre-ban the Mio for whatever, like with a setup like this, why on earth would you ever pre-ban a Mio? Right, like Mio would have been so good here. Right, you would go instead of Senyu Nahor, you'd go Mio Nahor, and then like this team is dog water into that. But yeah, so I need to play more games next season. I start to like really understand the meta at around 1,000 games, I think. Right, 1,000 games into whatever season it is, that's when I've got a really solid grasp on what the meta is. So I think I need to just play more next season, and then I'll hopefully get a nice clean top 50, and ideally I would love to hit Mythic 3. Even if I don't end Mythic 3, I think just hitting 4,000 points would be awesome, but we'll see. That's my account showcase. That's all my builds and speed tuning and stuff. All my skill investments and whatnot. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments, and I'll see you next time.